to the big subject, which is like, what is really best for our people? That's kind of like the big question, which is at the heart of it all. Because, people have conversations about this topic and, they talk about the tax dollars, and they talk about the wars. And, really, it's really scratching the surface. The fundamental question is, if Bret Stephens and a rabbi can ask the question, is Trump good for the Jews? And is he good for Israel? Why can't the American say, what's good for Americans?
Is he good for us? And that exactly. We almost need our own PACs, which I actually really respect that you challenge Trump. I mean, I'm probably going to vote for Trump because he's so much better than Kamala, but I love the fact you had the balls to stand up to him and call him back. That was not popular. I mean, you got a lot of hate for that and still are, but these guys need to be called out. And I've called him out too, and I've lost thousands of followers. When I first criticized Trump, lose thousands of followers. But I'm always going to speak truth. And that's what I can tell you're the same way. We might not agree on every issue, but we're going to speak truthfully to each other. And more people need to do that.
Absolutely. Well, and it's not worth doing anything else. I mean, lying on behalf of who or what. With Trump, at the bottom of it, like with everything, it's just about politics, and I explain it this way, because a lot of people say I'm with Kamala. I'm not with Kamala.
No,
I'm not a Democrat.
She's
I would
terrible.
never vote for her. But I'm not going to vote for Trump just yet because I don't agree with a lot of the things he's saying. And people say, well, if you don't vote for him, you're going to get the Democrat. But it's like, let's talk about how politics actually works. Miriam Adelson gives Trump $100 million, and Trump is going to do what Israel wants.
Yep.
And why? Because Miriam Adelson, representing the political interest of the state of Israel, has given Trump what he needs. They made a deal. He needs money. She gave him money. Now he's going to use political power to benefit her. That's what politics is really about.
Yeah.
For all of us, politics is about arguing with your neighbor about whether the Democrats or the Republicans have better presidents. And we vote for them one way or the other. So when I go out there, because I said, Trump was just getting worse and worse, I said, look, I'm going to go and tell people to withhold the vote. And we're going to articulate a clear agenda. No war, no more immigration. For at least 10 years, we've had a billion immigrants. Let's just
clearly
stop.
too much.
Right. So I said, no war, no immigration, and let's get Republicans to say we won't vote unless he has a conservative America First position on this. People said, well, you're going to make him lose. It's like, well, how is this any different than what Miriam Adelson is doing? Because all we're doing is going to Trump and saying, we could give you 20,000 votes in Michigan, which is what you need, but we need something in return.
I agree. I think we need to hold him accountable. And Adelson, like I said, her husband is a traitor. I saw him giving a speech saying he served in the U.S. military, but he was shameful because he wanted to be in the IDF.
Yep.
That means he represents Israel, not America. There's a traitor, Jonathan Pollard, I believe his name. I'm sure you know him. He's one of the worst spies in American history. He was stealing our secrets for Israel. I think they're selling them to like China or Russia. He basically had everything. One of the worst spies ever. As soon as this guy got out of prison, he picked him up, flew him to a private jet for a hero's welcome in Israel. This guy is representing Israel. He loves a guy who's a spy and undermines America. This guy is not our friend. This money is not to help us.
No, and Trump pardoned him because of Sheldon Adelson's money, who's now dead. And Adelson flew Pollard back to Israel on his private jet, and he was greeted on the tarmac by Bibi Netanyahu. And the guy's a traitor.
Yeah, this guy should have been hung, in my opinion.
Well, he committed treason.
Yeah, literally
That's what
committed
happens
treason.
when you commit treason. So it honestly makes me sick to my stomach when I think about it, because that's why Trump was so powerful, because Trump didn't come up and say, we're going to have a free market, man, I'm going to cut your taxes. He didn't say, I'm going to be conservative, whatever that means. He said, we're going to make the country great again. He said, the American dream is dead. Country's in decline. We all know it. He said, and what was critical too, because I kind of deconstructed this on my show, he said, make America great again. And that contains three powerful ideas, which is one, America is no longer great.
Yep.
If it has to be made great again, it's no longer great, which few politicians will ever say that. Every politician says, no, Joe Biden says, we're America, man. This is who we are. It's not great. Our cities are embarrassing. There's fucking trash everywhere. Part of my language is terrible, but Trump goes out there and says, well, make America great again. It says, one, America was great, which we know, is no longer, which no one will say. But he said, if you elect me, we can actually tangibly make the country better. And that's actually different than what other people say. Because every other campaign slogan is like, stronger together. When we fight, we win. I'm with her. Kamala Harris for the people, whatever that means. But Trump said, no, we're going to make the country great again. Like, we're going to achieve greatness. It's tangible. It's real. And within that, during his announcement speech in 16 or June 15, he came out and he said something which was like, at the time, I didn't think anything of it. But going back, he said, we need a leader. He said, you need a leader to literally take this country and make it great. And, in that sense, he said, what we need is a president that actually counts. We all know the president doesn't make the decisions. Yeah. We know it's an opaque, incomprehensibly complex system. Nobody knows exactly how it works or who's really making the decisions. So Trump said, no, we need a leader to bypass that, who's accountable, who is proceeding from the unity of one individual, going to take responsibility for the greatness, and by taking the country, seizing power, making it better. A lot of people said, well, that's like Hitler. That's like a dictator. That's fascism. I call that accountability. I prefer, if the president's in charge, good. We know who to blame. We know who's responsible. And let's empower that person to make the country better instead of unaccountable bureaucrats, hedge fund managers, unelected people. We don't even know who's making or passing the laws. They don't write them.
Biden, yeah.
They
Biden's
don't read
doing
them.
nothing, yeah.
They don't know what's in them.
Yeah,
the think
who are
tanks,
doing these things?
the
It's
think
crazy,
tanks
right?
write
They just
them.
hand them these like giant things. They don't even read them, just sign them. It's absolutely insane.
It's an 8,000-page omnibus bill. It funds the whole government. None of them could possibly read it. So Trump said it was really a message about efficacy. He said, I'm going to go in and it's one of my favorite speeches. I've been quoting it all the time lately in October 13th, 2016 in West Palm Beach, because he gave a few speeches that day. People should look it up.
I'll have to look this up.
It's the best one
I love
ever.
Trump 2016. It was magic.
You will literally it's like the best thing you'll ever watch. And they all called it anti-Semitic because he goes up there and he said, this election will determine whether or not we, the people, retain control over our government, or whether we have only the illusion of democracy, but are actually controlled by a small handful of global special interests rigging the system.
Wow.
And it's like, if that's not
and they
like
call that anti-Semitic?
a shot of espresso, that's like a shot of adrenaline. Because you watch Kamala and she's like, hey man, Trump's a bully and we need to bring people together, not drive them apart. And Trump's like, we have an illusion of democracy. We're controlled by global special interests, because that's real. It's real and it's true, and it cuts the heart of the matter, which is that we don't have sovereignty. We don't have a government of, by, and for the people. How can we expect them to do anything for us? And so, that's what it represented in 16, was like a leader getting up, taking the reins, literally taking the country and making it better in tangible ways. Not, we're going to have a pro-business environment. It was like, no, we're going to build highways. The cities are going to be clean. There's going to be no crime. We're not going to have all these illegal immigrants coming in. We're going to be a serious country. And that is what was so exciting about it. And now it's just like a regular Republican.
Yeah, that Trump's gone. And people get mad at me and you for saying that. But that guy clearly is not the same guy. He's not talking about, getting rid of NAFTA and NATO and all these things that were groundbreaking at the time. I think that's why they hated him so bad. The globalists, which you know who they probably are. I don't even think he realized who he was going against, but he accidentally upset the globalists, which is why they were impeaching him, in his way for everything he did. And I feel like now he's kind of caved and bowed to him a little bit.
Totally.
But he is still a wild card. I could see him possibly getting there and shaking things up, but it seems like he's kind of neutered.
It's possible. Here's the reality. He's very old. And he's been fighting for a long time. He's been fighting for 10 years. And, they say that about the president, that it ages you like you wouldn't believe. And that's for a normal president, not a president that's fighting tooth and nail.
They're trying to put him in jail, take all of his money. It's insane what they're doing.
Shot. So this man's been through hell. He's 80-some years old, and he's tired. And I think he's tired of fighting. I think he has no interest in governing. And he doesn't have super strong ideological conviction. He's got a good core. On his instincts, he's with us. He's like a 1990s populist. He's anti-free trade. He's against the wars. He's against the immigration. But you know what it is? This is what happens typically. They go in. I'm talking about a president gets elected. They get in the Oval Office, and the people get around him, and they control his diet of information. He actually becomes more isolated than ever.